Okay, we're recording. Rob, say that again. We've got a pandemic of business owners in this country.
Yeah, and it's because of the legacy the legacy that we carry, that we're carrying forwards with us from apartheid, from then stepping apartheid into BEE, stepping into our tax laws as well, where we get very, very, very disproportionately heavily taxed. And it's forced a lot of people who would have previously been a very, very good employee with a good bonus package, or commission package, one of those sorts of things. Those people have become business owners, and it's all about tax efficiency or actually being able to just try and survive, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And we've got to be very careful as business owners that, you know, a business actually by sheer definition has employees, has a share value, and is a sellable entity. That's the definition of a business. And so it's very important that we understand that our job is to achieve that. Otherwise, we've just got a tax efficient job that we've created for ourselves. And yes, it's registered as a business, and it's got a business bank account and a business credit card and a business overdraft and all those other things, but it's not actually a business. It's a self-employed job that we've created. And I think for many of us, and you know, it's a conversation I had to have with myself around my coaching business, which for 15 years has been pretty much just me, in all honesty. I mean, David, you knew Mark, but I mean, Mark was around a bit, but it wasn't really anything more than two guys who can sell their time for a lot of money by the hour.
Yeah.
But effectively, we're like a doctor, we're just self-employed.
Yeah.
Like in a tax efficient way. And almost all of our long-term problems are solved by building a proper business that is bigger than us. Like in reality, or making enough money by the hour and being very studious with how we invest and how we insure ourselves if something does happen. But I put like insurance on me to cover Kerry and the kids should something happen to me. I actually can't afford the insurance that I'll need.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not knocking the concept of the insurance. It's just that the amount of money it comes into every month to like tick all the boxes, it just isn't possible.
Yeah.
In which case, some insurance is great, but actually building the business up is actually even greater. That actually gives something of real leverage. And so I really, really think we've got to be very, very conscious about what game are we actually playing. Because every game's got a set of sensible things that we should do. So a doctor who can just bill at medical aid rates and you know, work 12 hours a day, 5.5 days a week as a GP is going to have to, David, come and invest money with you for retirement, insure themselves very well through somebody like yourself, and probably equally have a second business like to do with property or something like that in order to actually go and some Bitcoin to go and actually cover their bases. Because doctors are just effectively self-employed people.
Yeah.
And so I think it's worth us playing with, like, what are the rules for the game based upon the circumstance we're in.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, I've been wrestling with this in my head for a while. I don't think anybody is actually teaching these rules for the game based upon the circumstance. I mean, am I right, or am I wrong?
Not that I can see, and not done effectively as well, Rob. You know, everyone's pitching it at a sort of general level, where I think everybody's at a different stage of that, and depending on this different stage of where you're at, you've got a different outlook of where you think you're going to go, and and a bit of a cap on the thoughts, or on the ideas of how far and how big you can make your business. And so I think everybody needs sort of an individual plan to, number one, identify where they're at, number two, see what their goals are, number three, bust those goals open and show them that there's much more to it, and then a path on exactly how to get there.
And I think there's a whole bunch of standardized norms that we can play to. A one-man band person who's got a business registered because they're tax efficient, like a doctor, for instance, or a psychologist.
You'll be surprised. Even pilots have that. Pilots are registering themselves as businesses, and then especially in the corporate world, they're able to register themselves as a business, and then they're a manager of the aviation department for a company, and then that company contracts to the pilot, and the pilot has his own business setup, exactly like you say, like a doctor would, to be tax efficient, to be invoicing instead of earning a salary, etc., etc. So sorry, I interrupted you, Rob. What were you going to say?
No, but I just think that there's if you're in that circumstance, then there's sort of a series of sensible rules to play that game to get the best possible outcome, and have that business continuity for yourself. David, a financial advisor actually often ends up being no different, right? It's a similar setup.
100%.
And a lot of those people really will struggle to scale. Like, I look at my wife, Kerry, as a psychologist. She really will struggle to scale beyond just being a psychologist in terms of that industry. So there's a series of rules to play by there to get the best possible outcomes. But equally, if you've got something that you can sell, like you can scale outwards, it's then we're talking about the scaling outwards here, but understanding those rules and those risks that come with it. And where to get to get the best possible outcome for yourselves.
It's very difficult for some people, because as a financial advisor, I've almost got to do much less financial advice to be able to scale my business. I've got to learn to train other financial advisors. I've got to manage people. I've got to do more marketing. I've got to do all these other things, and be less of a financial advisor to scale my business as a financial advice business.
It was interesting. So I was with Marcius this morning. Some of you will all have seen Marcius. David knows Marcius, but JJ and Francois and anybody else listening to this, you'll have seen Marcius online, because he's all over social media. It's quite hard to avoid. But he let slip this morning when I was talking to him at 5:30. Well, at 5 o'clock, but about 5:30, that he's currently spending 6 to 8 hours a day, every day, personally on marketing. That is his. The remaining of his working day is 2 hours mentoring and training staff, and 2 hours building systems, processes, and fixing systems and processes. But the eye-opening thing for me was the 6 to 8 hours a day, every day on marketing.
The question in my mind is, how do we bridge the gap between having to work in the business and do the deals and advise clients and all the stuff that JJ, Francois, Christophe, Eugene, me, and everybody in this room does, to being able to have people in place to do that for us, so that we can spend 6 hours a day on marketing?
I think the starting point is actually employing, even though it's uncomfortable, and employing to free you up from the stuff that you honestly don't need to do. Invoicing. You don't need to do invoicing. Somebody else can do that for you. Answering emails, you really don't need to do that. Somebody else can do that for you. And then also then starting to the first person, Peter sat in the office with me this morning. The first person I employed was Peter, because it's the way of getting me. She was a way of getting Kingdompreneur and me in front of more customers more often, and being more continuous with that. Interesting. The second person I employed was another marketing person. It was a video editor, Tristan.
Yeah.
Because if you think about that business pipeline we had earlier in the year of people, problem solved, marketing, advertising, sales, like delivery of products, so on and so forth, you actually need to start putting your resources in at the top, because the better you build capacity at the top, the better the outcomes will be at the bottom. You've got to take that pipe and make it wider.
Yeah. So maybe we need to look at a few operational list ways of how we do that, particularly in our exact businesses. What do you guys think, JJ and Francois?
Yeah, most definitely. What I like what you said, Rob, is we're actually focusing so much on, for instance, next week's session and what's coming next, and you're reminding us to go back to where we started with this.
That pipeline I shared, which we can go through again, probably worth going through once a month. It is singly the answer to everything. That and the equation I'm going to take us through this morning is singly the answer to everything, because it's the truth that sets you free. That and knowing your numbers. That's also another thing. Many of us don't really know our numbers.
What do you mean with that, Rob?
So if we go to that pipeline, right, of problem solved with a product or a service, marketing, advertising, sales, delivery of the thing, so on and so forth. Every part of that has an actual cost, like a monetary cost. It might just be diesel and 8 hours of your time, but even 8 hours of your time is worth something, right? At an hourly rate. I bill at 300 Rand an hour, 300 Rand a minute for my time. It's got a value to it. And then when we get we should then go and allocate that value to each chunk. And then when our business receives a payment for a customer, take out the whatever it is, the 972 Rand for marketing, take it out and put it in a marketing pot, and the 1,400 Rand for advertising, putting in the advertising pot, and the sales commission put in the sales pot, and the cost of the product itself, the box itself, in the delivery box. And what we're left with at the end is what our net profit is, our actual profit. And I don't think very many of us actually know what those numbers are.
No, we definitely do not know what those numbers are. And also another thing that you said, Rob, is the work that you don't want to do or need to do, if you can outsource that, maybe either contract or a contract, or hire somebody to do it.
By the way, definitely hire somebody to do it. The MBA attitude towards outsourcing is a broken model at all levels of business. Doesn't work outside. It doesn't work for big businesses. Doesn't work for small businesses. You in-source almost everything that you possibly can do within your business internally. Maybe with the exception of your accountant, a lawyer, and a David and a Rob. Everything else should be built inside the business as a full-time function. Yeah,
the thing is, like, I'm doing my own invoicing now, so because of we buying a lot of product and at different prices, and the markups are not the same with everything, So yeah, to get somebody to do that, I feel that you're leaving it to somebody else. If they make a mistake on an invoice, that is going to cost me money. So I've got difficulty on letting go on that.
I think we all have. I think the reality is we just haven't built a system yet to deal with that. We haven't built the system where maybe we can just voice note somebody on WhatsApp. George, this much, this much, this much, this much. When we can't let go of something is just because we haven't built a system or trained somebody well enough to do it. And we end up, this is funny, right? So I built my time at 300 Rand a minute at the moment in South Africa. It's more like 650 Rand a minute in the States. I had a guy yesterday, I'm doing a seminar this Saturday. I'll put the link in. It's 97 Rand. If you want to attend all of it or some of it, you can do. I'll put the link in there. I had a guy last night email me. He needs an invoice for 97 Rand for Saturday's seminar. And by the way, he wants to book now. So can I just do it quickly? And he emails me personally. And even for me just to go and forward the email to somebody else and say, can you write, like, Peter, can you do me an invoice? It then costs her time and my time, and we get to about 400 Rands worth of time spent to do a 97 Rand invoice. And we've just got to be really, really more efficient with that and help ourselves more, because we're often wasting money and time all over the place when we could just go and, like, the time to do your invoices is actually time we could be spent on the phone, networking with new customers, meeting new customers, generating more money for ourselves, as opposed to servicing old money. So it's a system or training problem that we're facing. It's maybe not necessarily an accuracy problem.
So when I started looking at employing people, I started the business and it was just me, and I sat through the night doing invoices. I can't send quotes during the day because I'm too busy doing the work, and then at night I've got to do these things. And it took me some time to train that person, and it took time for me to trust that process. And it's definitely worthwhile. So, from an invoicing point of view, if you just look at that workload, to put a process in place, and I think maybe something like, I don't know what you're using for invoicing, but if you've got to work out different markups and those type of things, then definitely invest in training in something like Excel, where you can almost automate that process. So if the pricing changes, it will spit out the pricing on the other side very quickly and easily. And that you can then actually give to the person to invoice. So what I'm saying is that to give someone or to move that workload to another system will take a month or two, but thereafter, then that investment is so worth it, because you will be freed up with, I don't know, 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever, per day or per week. When I used to do a month end, we used to do it all manually, and then have to copy and paste into Pastel. We've got that down to me now, and sorry, that process used to take me 2 to 3 days to finish month end. I can now finish month end probably in 45 minutes to an hour, just by putting the right process into place. So it's absolutely worthwhile taking that month or two to invest the time in that.
So another thing for any of us, especially with something like Excel, is actually to go and buy 2 hours of somebody's time who's a genius at Excel, and sit down and say, I need it to do this, and speak to them and get them to build it live in front of you as you explain to them what it is you want them to do, want it to do. Because somebody who's a genius at Excel probably can achieve miracle. What it would take any one of us like 10 or 12 hours or 2 days to do, probably they can do in 2 days. JJ knows it better than me, but like 2 hours, they can probably do what it would take me 2 days to do. Yeah, it might cost us $2,000, but or maybe a bit more. But I think it would be. In fact, JJ, maybe there's a consulting thing that your business could offer.
So that's exactly what we're busy doing. So my next bit that I want to tell you is, if you need help like that, we've got that. So we can definitely assist with that.
JJ, I'll fly through to you and we can sort it out.
I love it. You'll fly
Perfect.
through to him today. He's at the Blinken airfield today.
I'm driving into Barra as we speak.
I love it. In fact, I need the same thing. I've got a whole Excel plan that I go through, and it takes me, like, if I get a new client with information, I can get a full financial plan with investments and insurance and everything done in about half an hour, maybe an hour if it's a little bit more complex. And that I've brought down from having to do it in about a day. So, but I actually don't even need to be there. The way I've set it up is that if I've got the right data from the client, I just punch it in, and the Excel spreadsheet sets it up, because I think I've taken JJ and Francois and you, Rob, through the same spreadsheet. But the real time constraint is the one where I actually have to go and draw the quotes from the systems, whether that's Momentum or Liberty or Innate or whomever, and that can all be automated. I can get someone to do that whole thing. So, and I don't have to do that at all. All I need to then do is just sit down in front of you and you guys and actually just take you through it, which takes the hour of my time and your time. But I can save that half an hour or even hour beforehand, and save that hour and a half each time. I could really free up some awesome time to see more clients and invite more people to the Aviation Wealth Club. Feels like I'm speaking to myself.
No, David, the thing is also, I'm not that used to working on Excel and computers and stuff, so a little bit of old school, doing everything with my calculator and with hand, so I think JJ would be able to help me a lot with that.
JJ,
We'll
maybe
set it up after this call.
Say that again, JJ.
We'll set it up after this call.
Nice. There we go. All right. Should we?
Well, that was useful. Who's been winning at what?
Yeah. Nice. Tell us your wins, everybody.
So there's two clients that haven't done business with me for a while now. So we got them both in the last week we're going to do some business with them. So that was a great win.
Excellent. 2 new customers. That's amazing. Well done, Francois. Or two customers that came back. What was the main thing that got them back, do you think?
I think, I've tried to do business with them again. I've saw them this last 2 years and we didn't do anything. So there is a little bit of seed shortages. So maybe that, and also the thing that we went and see them.
Actually engaging with the clients. And that I think is a great lesson. People often think, oh, they didn't do business with us the last 2 years, I'm not going to waste my time and go see them again. And the fact that you did, and the fact that you were consistent, meant that they came to you. Yes, there's a seed shortage, but I'm sure there's somewhere else they could have possibly got those seeds, but they didn't, because you went and saw them, and that was it resulted in a great win for you. Well done.
No, thank you. I think you summed it up great. Thanks, David.
Beautiful. JJ, what have you been winning at?
So I've had a customer for many years, and they didn't really grow, but they went away, went through some internal changes and those type of things, and then came back again. And they're in the hotel industry. The tourism industry. So this lady phones me last week and says to me, oh no, she's now got a job working for a hotel chain based in Casablanca, and they own 4 hotels in South Africa. They're needing some help with their Wi-Fi and other IT equipment. And suddenly, Bob's your uncle, I've got a new customer. So after this call, I'm meeting the oak in Casablanca online, and then we'll meet with him physically in person on the 1st of October. In the meantime, we're sending out quotes for equipment that they need, and it looks like we'll be able to close that deal and start helping them. So I'm very happy with that.
Excellent, JJ. Well done. And some growth, well, some growth opportunity there with an international hotel chain. Well done.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, go on, JJ. Sorry.
And now, what's Rob been winning at?
I've been winning at flying all over the country on this speaking tour, and the best part of the win is that everybody says, "Come back, we want to put on something bigger." So that's the big part. So we'll probably speak to, I don't know, a few thousand people maybe within this tour, but I think from the feedback we're getting, we'll do, I don't know how big, but probably 3 or 4 times the size in February when we repeat the tour. So that is a very, very cool win. Also, just to see just how hungry people are for, and how lost people are, but based upon how lost they are, just how hungry they are for decent advice and decent help. It's very sad how low the level of business knowledge is that's being taught in the country. It's kind of a great business opportunity for me, but it's very sad to see just how low people's starting point is, and what's the quality of what's being taught in the schools, universities and colleges, just how poor it is very sad. But that's also, I mean, that creates for a lot of people who are very curious and want to learn more new things. So I guess that's kind of a win, but it's a bit sad as well.
Have you ever thought of being part of the NSBC, the National Small Business Chamber, and that once a year thing that they do up here in Sandton? I don't know if they do it elsewhere in the country, where they basically have a lot of businesses come together, and then they've got a lot of talks there, and there's finance houses, insurance, and wills, and all those type of things, and see if you can be part of that.
What's it called? NSBC?
Yes.
National Small Business what, sorry?
Chamber.
Never heard of it, but I'll investigate it. Okay. Thank you.
All right, I'll send it through to you. They do, like, I think it was the first week of September, they did a 3 or 4 day event in Sandton, where, like I said, the banks are there. So anything that you need to start a business, all those people are there. SARS are there. There might be an IT company or two from a cybersecurity point of view, those type of things. And they've got speakers like yourself to come in and rally up the crowd and tell them a couple of workshops and so forth as well.
Cool. Thank you, JJ.
Nice.
You've just given me an idea, but it might not be the idea that you were thinking of, but you might just have given me an idea.
It's very dangerous to tell Rob things, JJ. Comes up with world domination and
yes, exactly. It's building that business that you're scared of.
The question I've got in my head, JJ, is what's going on to cause the level of knowledge being passed to people to be so low? Like from
the one thing I think is that, so you're talking about obviously education and the skills that have been taught, and I fully agree it's not being done right. That's why I homeschool my kids. But the second thing is the ability of the students to implement what they've been taught. That is very low. And I see that if you're looking through people's CVs and you're wanting to employ them and you give them a task to do and they actually have no cooking clue, but according to their CV or their qualification, they're supposed to be able to do that task. And you think, but why don't you understand that? It's almost like people study to be accountants. but they don't know how to do accounting. They can pass the exam, but they don't know how to do it. You can pass the PPL exams to become a pilot, but you actually can't fly. You don't know what you're doing. How to solve it, I don't know. But yeah, that's what I've been seeing.
I've been getting some interesting feedback from people this last week, which is just how, it's part of what we're going to talk about today, actually, but just how simple that I make things for people. And interestingly, the people who get the simplicity, take the simplicity, make it work, and they go and make a lot of money for themselves. But there's a taught attitude that you have to learn all the complicated things, and the complicated things is important. And in reality, the complicated things don't work in the big corporations at all, and they definitely don't work in small businesses. There's really only 3 or 4 very simple things you need to know and do to go and make, 10 million rand a year or £1 million a month profit. It's not actually that complicated. But it's almost like we've been conditioned that if it's not exceptionally complicated, it won't work. But then I think what we find is that people know all the complicated stuff but can't do the basics.
Yep, absolutely.
The real simple
and
stuff.
putting it into practice.
Yeah, that's it.
It's almost the same as we attending these meetings regularly, and you tell us do this, but then we actually don't do it, and you think, but why do you attend it then? So same type of principle.
My reality check is if you do 10% of what I suggest, you'll make more money, and then life will be good.
Yeah, absolutely. And David,
what have we been doing this week?
I won at I had the privilege of taking Rob and Peter out for dinner last week, which was very, very pleasant, and I think well overdue. So that was a win for me. And
Apart from you tried to order my steak.
So again?
You tried to order my steak.
Yeah, I tried to order your steak, which was a mistake. But we eventually did get the right steak, and it was an absolutely beautiful dinner. Very nice place, George's Grill House in Bedford View. Guys, if you haven't been before, I highly recommend it. Please go and check it out. And then, the other win is that I didn't vomit in an airplane this weekend. So that was also a win. But I do need to, like JJ said, go and test out my new bath bags over here. So I need to get flying again in the next couple of weeks. I also did a bit of content last week, which was good. Shot a nice video about a little bit about me and what I do, and how all the different facets of Pilot Insure and Aviation Wealth Club and the safety symposiums and all the stuff that I do kind of fits together. So that video is busy being edited as we speak and being put together nicely. So we'll be able to share that. That's going to be a good one. We're running into month end now, and just looking at the numbers, having a fantastic month. I don't know if it's going to be the best month ever, just because 1 or 2 of the deals are rolling over, but an absolutely brilliant month nonetheless. So winning all round, I can tell you that much.
I love it.
I just wanted to update the events that are happening. We've got the Speed Rally finale this weekend at Heidelberg. So please come along. They are saying that there's no fly-in, but there's nothing stopping everyone from coming and watching the speed rally. There are still going to be some vintage aeroplanes, and the great train race, I understand, is being actually hosted at the station. So the event of the train race itself isn't going to be at the airfield like it has been in the past. But there's still going to be aircraft, and obviously us with the speed rally and all that sort of stuff. So please pull in. It's going to be a great event. And obviously, as an Aviation Wealth Club member, you'll get a big hug and a big high five and a free burry roll from us as well. So it's going to be really lekker. That's this Saturday. The CEO breakfast is one that I've added on here, and it's on the 7th of October, and a little bit of live permission requesting, Rob. and from everybody else, is that instead of the Aviation Wealth Club session being held online here, that we all go to the CEO breakfast at the Culinary Restaurant on the Tuesday morning. Rob, hopefully you can make it up here, but you probably, if you can't, that's unfortunate, but we would love to see you here. But the CEO breakfast is being hosted by Aero, which is all the aviation businesses in South Africa. They've got a big expo that runs every year, but Aero's putting that together 2 Tuesdays from now. So I would like to invite everybody from the Aviation Wealth Club to come and join that. And I've popped the registration link for it on the chat. So if you want to jump into the chat here, the chat function here on this, click that link and you can register for the Messe Frankfurt CEO breakfast.
Where is that held, David?
So if you fly into Lanseria on the morning, there's the restaurant just down the road outside of Lanseria called the Culinary Table. Beautiful restaurant, lovely setting. And it's just down, if you come out the main entrance of Lanseria past Execujet, and then you come up to the corner where Hans Stradom and the Lanseria Road are. There's that big warehouse and a couple of other places there. The Culinary Table is the restaurant on the corner. I don't know if you've been there before, but it's absolutely beautiful.
No, I haven't been there, but yeah, let's have a look and see how's the weather that morning.
For sure. Would love to have you there. JJ, what are your thoughts?
He's lighting his braai.
Yeah, nice.
At that restaurant before. Yeah, just busy technical. Sorry, guys. I've been at that restaurant before. Very nice, very posh, really cool.
Yeah. So we'd love to have you there, JJ, if you can either drive in or fly in, whatever's easier for you. Probably to drive in, since you live probably 6 k's from there, and further from your aeroplane. It's closer to you to your home than your aeroplane is, unfortunately. But yeah, please pull in.
I won't have any excuse not to go.
Say again?
I won't have any excuse not to go.
Exactly right. And so there's also going to be some keynote addresses, one from the Chief Executive Officer of Lanseria Airport. Then we've got the Chairman of AMOSA, who's going to give us the current status of GA in South Africa. That's going to be quite a brave one to do. And then we've got also Michael Den, the Managing Director of Messe Frankfurt, South Africa. So, but I think the value is definitely more in the networking there, which hopefully we'll see a bunch of CEOs in the aviation industry, and yeah, we'd love to see you there. I'm definitely going to be there. That's if Rob lets me off the hook here to not have to do the Aviation Wealth Club online that week.
You're fine. You're good. Carry on.
And if it's okay with everybody else, to rather do that breakfast rather than the session, I think that would be super valuable for everybody.
Perfect. Good idea. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So then I think that's it from me for now. Let's jump into business acceleration. Rob, I mean, over and above what we've already discussed today, let's hammer it. What have you got for us today?
I am going to got my whiteboard today. So that like that like that. You can all say good morning to Peter, by the way. You've all met her at some point.
Good morning, Peter. You guys looking good in your Kingdompreneur swag.
That's a new one too.
Look at that.
Beautiful. I noticed that vest you were wearing, Rob. That looked awesome.
That's it. And I've got new white golf shirts for when I stand in public and speak, but I'm not allowed to wear them unless I'm actually speaking, because I'll spill coffee down the front of them. It's pretty much. Even the other day, we got what is it, a takeaway coffee from Bootleggers, and somehow the lid wasn't on properly, and I went to slurp it in my mouth, and it went down the front of the white shirt. So. There we go. But Peter's a grown-up, so she's allowed to wear her nice new shirts, even when we're not in front of the people we're speaking to.
Must be nice, Peter, being so grown up and responsible, unlike us.
Someone has to be.
20 years younger than me, but she's got all the wisdom. I'm just the clown in the front. Let's go move my microphone. So I wanted us to play this morning with something, and I said, we need to keep going back through some of the things that we've learned, and refreshing them and seeing them in the same way, in different ways, and getting new perspectives on it. And I've been playing with an equation that I shared with you in the past, which is this one. And I used to say people times value equals money. But I want to move that from what I've been playing with over the past weeks to people times a miracle equals money, right? Because if we're to be absolutely honest about our customers, what it is you want to purchase as a customer, what it is our customers want to purchase, actually they want to purchase a miracle. That's what they really, really, really want. Maybe it could be referred to as the dream outcome that we spoke about the other week. But I think that if there's the two biggest areas of focus in our business, if they could be this and this, there's an unlimited amount of this that you can make. And so I want us to play today, and I'm not going to talk that long today because I actually want you to start thinking about this and start contributing to this. But I think we'd all do our businesses some a good service by deciding how is it that we do getting in front of people often enough, right? How is it? Is it social media? Is it WhatsApp? Like, what's the plan that we have in place for this? And then with the plan, what's the resource that we dedicate to it? And that resource can be money, time, energy, and people. Right? I'm going to get a few other resources as well. But what's the dedicated resource to this? Because I think if we're to be honest, none of our business happens without this. And yet I'm going to bet the thing that we're least good at allocating time to is, or resources to, and having a plan for, is this. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain I'm right. As in, this struck me this morning, as Marcia said, he wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning, reviews his social media content from yesterday, has a coffee, then he goes to the gym. By 7 a.m. he's at the office, and the next 6 to 8 hours in the office is only this. And, he is doing 72 million rand a year, so he is pushing quite high with regards to what it is that he's making. But he's actually got a very specific structure in his day in terms of allocating the resources to this. We've obviously got different groups of people that we can go and think about. I don't know, a different colour pen, but where's the black one gone? But we've obviously got here, we've got current people. We've got known people. What I mean by known is people we've sent a quote to, but they haven't bought from us, or people who've contacted us haven't yet bought from us. And then we've got new. I can't even draw today. And so I think it'd be worth us thinking about what am I doing with my plan and my resources to ensure that we stay in front of the current people and that they're always delighted with what I'm offering them. David will know this, but one of the things I bash about financial advisors is the idea of the once yearly review. Right? It's a compliant thing that they have to do, but it's the bare minimum requirement to stay legal in the industry. It's not business best practice. right? It's the minimum you have to do to be legal, but that doesn't mean to say it's business good practice. It's just legal necessity. What are we doing also as part of our plan to go and be in front of the people who we know them and they know us, but we haven't done business together yet? You know, a lot of people take 20 different positive engagements with us before they're willing to do business with us. And so what are we doing to nurture these people? And then what are we doing actively with our resources and our plan to go and get in front of new people more often? You know, shake hands, kiss babies, all those sorts of things. The next bit is to actually understand the miracle that the customer, the miracle the customer wants. That's probably different to the thing that we sell. Right? In reality, the thing that we sell is the tool to achieve what the customer wants, but the customer doesn't want to buy from a carpenter wood or 80 hours of their time, or use it like, I don't know, whatever it costs to hire a chisel for half an hour in that 80 hours and a saw and the air conditioning for the workshop. They actually want to buy the chest of drawers, because they want to keep their clothes neat and tidy in a chest of drawers and make their living room or their bedroom, for instance, look nice and beautiful and tidy. So the miracle they want is a beautiful bedroom with their clothes kept clean, neat and tidy within a beautiful chest of drawers. That's what they want. The tool to achieve that, what actually happens is man hours, wood, chisels, glue, screws, nails, plans, expertise. There's all sorts of things that happen, but the customer doesn't want to pay by that. They actually just want to buy the chest of drawers, right? And more important than that, they don't really want to buy the chest of drawers. They actually want to buy what it is the chest of drawers does for them. Show them to their family members. Look, isn't it beautiful? The fact that their clothes are nicely organized. There's a list of other things that they want to do, and maybe I haven't even gone as far enough into the miracle as I could do. Maybe they want to buy the feeling of buying that chest of drawers and how good they feel about themselves. And so I don't want to focus too much here, but I'm going to guess in everybody's business, these two things are the things that have the least amount of time spent on them, and yet we know that they're the biggest differentiator. And so I just want to open up now for a bit of a discussion. What is it that you don't know to go and do this task about the people, the plan of how I stay in front of current people, stay in front of known people, get in front of new people, and about the allocation of money, time, resources, energy, and people to achieve it? Like, what knowledge is missing? Or do we literally need to sit and stare looking you in the face like this for 20 minutes and get you to actually do it and commit to it in your diary? I don't know. So the first question is really, where's your head at with regards to this? And can you fully comprehend that this is the difference that makes the difference? Sorry, I'm in blunt mode today. It shouldn't surprise us. We were playing with Alex Hormozi's book at this point in time. He's another guy just about to knock on the door of a billionaire, achieved that in 10, 11 years, from 0 to $1 billion in 11 years. He also spends 6 hours a day on just this people aspect here, staying in front of people consistently. There's a pattern to success that many of us pretend doesn't exist and try to ignore it, and yet actually it's the thing we most need to do to go and have what we want. Right, that's my rant over. I've stood on my soapbox long enough. David, what's rattling through your ears?
Almost like I need to just put that 6 hours a day. 6 seems excessive. 4 hours a day. See, again, but that's my bias working against me. But let's say, like, for me right now, if I've got 4 hours a day between 8 and 12 just to make content, just to talk to the camera, write posts, get a lot of that automated, but just get enough content driven or content generated in that 4 hours, whether that's writing articles, then talking those articles out in short video format, making long videos, doing podcasts, etc., for like the first 4 hours of Monday to Friday. 8 to 12, or do 20 hours of content and just having that pushed out automatically.
What's so firstly, the answer, I want to say yes, but also I want to say that like social media is a avenue. Equally, so's going to JJ mentioned the National Small Business Chamber event. That's a avenue of getting in front of new people and known people. So I want to say there's yes with the 4 hours, but it's deciding what's going to work best for you.
Yeah.
Go on, Francois.
Yeah, so I would say for me, I'm working at the same customers all the time. So I've got, say, 60 or 70 clients. So I think it's important to do maybe the recordings, but also I think the personal, to getting in touch with them personally and get on the forums is, for me and my business, is also a great thing. Not all the farmers are on the social media, so I think it's great to just WhatsApp them, maybe a video, whatever, but get to see them in person. I think for my business will be better, structure your business like that to free up your time to have more time with the clients.
Even if you do videos, put them on Instagram, for instance, or YouTube, and then send the farmers the link. I made this and thought of you in WhatsApp. They'll be quite surprised and also probably quite delighted, especially if they're spending hours in a tractor going up and down fields, like bored out of their brain. There is something else for them to be doing. And Francois, in what you're doing for a job, if farmers are spending a lot of time on their own doing monotonous stuff, which I think certainly in the UK and the US that's true. What a great opportunity for you to go and put yourself in front of them on YouTube or a podcast or something, to be in their ears or in their head whilst they're driving.
That's a great idea, Rob. I haven't thought about it much in the past, but I have to get that in order, and maybe with the time, like now it's beginning planting time, do something about the planting, and each season of the year, make a video there maybe and start there.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know what else. How do you all feel about making a plan you stick to with regard to? Go on, JJ.
I think that is what we tend to miss, is we think about a plan and then we just run off and do stuff because we're working too much in the business. So we really need to go back to the drawing board and say, like what you mentioned earlier on, we need to get the people portion right. So we've got the right resources, and then work out that plan and map it out 6 to 8 months or 12 months or whatever the case might be. And at the end of the month, just revisit, where we are with that plan. What I found, so for instance, if we've got new management, there's always someone that knows someone, and they're always trying to get their person in. Everyone's got a plumber, everyone's got an IT guy, and so forth. So for me, it's worthwhile, if there's new management, to physically go and meet those people, not just send my technicians to go and do the work. And I did just that this week. I think it was extremely valuable to spend that time face to face with a person, showing them who you are and that you're here to take care of their business requirements. And something else that happened this week as well is we've got an AI project marketed for businesses. And I'm speaking to a business owner yesterday about this. And she says, but hang on a second, I'm interested in this. How does it work for mental health? Because they're in the mental health business. And I said, oh, hang on a second. Let me go and find out. And it's speaking to exactly what they need. And it's actually a whole almost separate business that we can put together, just looking at a particular requirement and getting the tools for that requirement.
Cool. There's a few things I want to mention around this bit over here is I don't think any of us really want to be doing this, right? If you were to say, Rob, what's your perfect world? It would be 3 days on stage once a month, earn a few million rands, and somebody else puts 3,000 people in a room for me. I teach them, spend the next month coming up with some harebrained new thing to teach them, and then I go back to the hog's back for another 3 weeks, right? That's like my dream world. And I think many of us have got our dream world like that. You know, the customer's knocking on the door and saying, hey, me, without us doing any work for it. In that being known about me, when I commit to this plan to just sit here and do it myself, I'm very guilty of slipping off my plan. It becomes like a diet without a nutritionist or a workout schedule without a gym coach, if that makes any sense. What I've found is my commitment to go to Cape Town for a week, a month and spend it with Peter, it means I've actually got to look her in the eyes all day, every day and squirm at my unwillingness to do this. It's true, right? She's laughing. Yeah, it's true. But it ups the ante. I've paid to go to Cape Town to go and create a month's worth of content. I've got Peter with me and she's expecting to film this stuff and do this stuff. If I don't film it, there's people who work for me who don't have content to edit, which means they're just going to sit and twiddle their thumbs. And I'm paying for people to do nothing. And so I think it's about stacking. We use the word accountability. It's actually about creating the accountability within our business where other people don't have things to do if we don't do what's needed, and where we're paying them to sit doing nothing if we don't do what's needed. And that creates that accountability that we actually need. I think the idea of having an accountability buddy where I go, hey, David, I've done it today, that normally falls off in the space of 4 to 8 weeks. And it becomes less and less. And then I forgive David and he forgives me for not doing it on Monday. And in 6 weeks' time, neither of us are doing it all week long. We've made great excuses about it and promise ourselves that next month it'll happen. It'll be a better month. But when we actually commit and employees don't get to do their jobs, but we still have to pay them, actually, we go to a new location, actually, this becomes much more possible. So for me, that's my hack. And I want you guys to spend the next week going, what's my actual plan for this? It doesn't have to be long. In fact, if it's more than a side of A4 paper, it's probably far too big. What's my actual plan and commitment to this? Time, energy, people, resources, place, to go and stay in front of my current customers often enough through different ways, get in front of the people we know, and then actually get in front of new people. What's the plan? Where we've got a plan, we can then work on improving the plan and helping you get better outcomes. But if you don't have a plan, it's kind of like getting a few vague ingredients for a cake together, throwing it in the bowl, banging it in the oven, and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So that's my thought for today, David. I don't know how that works for you or what you and Francois take from it, but that's the thought and the request. And let's see where we get to next week.
I would say that is, pushing us to think outside the envelope. So, yeah, that's a great idea, Rob. Thank you.
No worries. JJ, did you hear the task?
No, please repeat it. I just had to change between devices quickly.
Whatever. You were turning steak on your braai. I know it. You weren't really changing between devices.
Almost.
So the request for the next week is on no more than one sheet of paper, is to go and sketch out your rough plan for staying in front of current clients, communicating to known clients, communicating to new people, and actually allocating the time, energy, people, resources, maybe even money to what am I doing? David mentioned 8 till 12 every day for just doing this. What is it we're willing to do so that I can actually look at your recipe for the cake, and being a bit of an expert baker can say, actually, it needs to bake for another 10 minutes and you need to add more raisins, or you're putting in too much sugar, or whatever it may well be. Because the only way I can really help you improve now you're understanding the importance of this stuff is actually to see the recipe and say, let's tweak the recipe. And that's my challenge or plan for your Heritage Days tomorrow.
Perfect. That sounds like a good idea. Thank you.
I love it. Any questions or anything, or should we all go and enjoy our Tuesdays and step forwards into our Heritage Day tomorrow?
But just tell me, how do you like your vosh while I'm busy brewing, you know?
Nice.
Nothing
from my side, Rob. Francois?
Nothing from my side. Thank you so much.
All right. I'm going to send out the notes and the recording to this session, and I think maybe even just a bit of a template of how we can look at. Send us that photo, Rob. A template of what we can fill in. No, in fact, I'm not going to do that. Everyone must do their own one of an A4 page of this exact plan that you guys have got for your businesses. All right. I think that's going to work well.
But by the way, we talk about business plans and business planning. This activity here should be 2/3 of a business plan.
Yeah.
Because there's no other part of a business plan has any relevance without this part being in place. Otherwise, it's a theoretical business. It's not an actual business. Right. I'm off my soapbox now. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording and end the call. So let's all go make some money.
Whoop, whoop.
Cheers, JJ. Cheers, Francois. Cheers, Rob. Cheers, Peter. Have a good one.
Goodbye.